Have a good one.
BD here. Welcome back to the channel for the Gladiator II premiere. We're on this red carpet. I got to talk with the cast and the filmmakers of this incredible film, 20 years in the making. Huge thanks to Paramount for having us. Huge thanks to everybody who watches this video. I hope you learned something and have fun. Enjoy. Hi, Paul and Brandon.
How are you?
Great to meet you.
How's it
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Hope you're having a good time. Okay, this is a franchise that is 20 years in the making a sequel.
Yeah.
Now, it's awesome to see you as Lucius.
Thanks.
If Ridley does say we want to keep this, we want to make it a franchise that keeps going, have you started fantasizing about where it could go from here?
I'm trying to put one foot in front of the other right now. I'm not I've never done anything like this press tour, so I'm like white knuckling it to the finishing line. But we're close, and that script's not going to be finished in the morning. So I can't wait to see what they come up with, and then when they have a script, I'll fold whatever ideas I have into it.
Hell yeah, man. Well, you were fantastic. And I'm doing one quick bit with everybody. You just walked out of Gladiator II, seeing it for the first time. What did you think?
What did I think? I was in it. What do you mean? I think it's fucking great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi. Thank you very
Peter and Brandon, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thank you so much for coming to talk today. Congratulations on being part of an awesome movie.
Thank you. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
What was the moment where you looked around on set? Was it a costume? Was it a prop? Was it an environment where you were like, oh, this is Rome. This is all the brutality of that world. We're in it now.
You gotta understand the scale of Ridley.
I don't know if I can without seeing it myself. You know?
Oh, it was just phenomenal to walk into a set. They built a castle effectively and filled it with 400 extras and animals, and it was like, here you are, go to work.
That's unbelievable.
It was phenomenal.
How intense does it get on set between everybody? Because your sequences are, I mean, they're action heavy. They're right out of the gate. How intense does it get on set? How do you guys work together to say, all right, we're going to take it this far? You build that trust, you build that comfort.
Well, that's the job.
Yeah, of course.
And there are no breaks.
Really?
Really, that's not how Ridley shoots. Literally, 10 plus cameras are going at all times. So you do your sequence and you just keep doing it until he tells you that's enough.
Okay, and I'm going to do a montage of everybody reviewing the film. So you just watched Gladiator II. What did you think?
Wow. Simply wow.
I love it. I love it. And one last question for you. As a geek myself, you were in a Marvel film once upon a time, The Incredible Hulk.
Oh my God.
Hey man, my question is, they're bringing some people back from that film now. Almost 20 years later. Are you a geek at all? Would you ever want to go live in one of those worlds? Did you grow up on any of that stuff like a lot of us have?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's funny. That's kind of why I got into this business.
Really?
Because it was just an opportunity to kind of tell some of those stories. So hopefully we'll see.
It's crazy how much it's blown up since that movie. I mean, those movies have just become...
I know. At the time we did it, honestly, I was like, oh, okay, we'll see if they, if this happens again. And now look.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you so much for the time, man. Enjoy the rest of your night. Great to meet you. And Michael and Brandon.
Brandon, pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you. Congratulations. You made it to the premiere of Gladiator II.
I made it. This is number 4. We started in Sydney, then we were in Tokyo, royal premiere in London, and we end in LA. So it's absolute honor.
So I feel like this is one of the final steps of a journey that had a lot of steps. Talk to me about step 1. How do you guys find your way in to a sequel, to make a sequel to a movie that's so beloved?
Tons of drinking.
What was the drink of choice?
Japanese whiskey.
Japanese whiskey?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a Japanese whiskey lover. My wife's Japanese, so I do drink a lot of Japanese. I haven't got rid into the Japanese whiskey as much yet, but you know, he likes his red wine and such. But you know, there's the work to do on that front. In all seriousness, no, of course, you know, Ridley made a great movie 24 years ago, a Best Picture winner, you know, one of the great iconic films. So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of time to do things. But you know, good ideas take time, and 24 years, you know, thankfully I wasn't part of all those 24 years. I've been doing it for the last 4 years on this film, but we've had great partners, Doug Wick, Lucy Fisher, our friends at Paramount, our writer David Scarpa. You know, you all have to come together, explore these ideas, and make sure it's a story worth telling.
What do you think are some of the things this movie was able to do with filmmaking technology and VFX and set design that might not have been able to as easy 20 years ago?
Well, it's a great point. I mean, I think what has happened is technology's advanced, obviously in quarter of a century, to the point where Ridley could now, in this film, realize some of the things that he wanted to in the first film, but you know, the technology wasn't quite there, you know, so we have sequences and spectacle in this film that are practical, because Ridley is a pure believer in cinema and doing things in camera as much as possible, but the augmentation with VFX and what we can do to really enhance the immersive experience with a blend of practical and VFX is mind-blowing in this film, and it's I think audiences are going to be blown away by some of the spectacle here.
So how many people did you really feed to sharks?
I think Ridley wanted to feed me to the sharks a couple of days, but luckily I didn't get to. Luckily I wasn't kicked off the plank. But no, the sharks were the sharks were merciful on me.
Oh, I love it. Okay, before I let you go, congratulations on Alien Romulus as well. I love that film. I know Fede's already working on another one. Where do you guys have you guys talked about where that's going? Are you going to work on the sequel to that one?
Yeah, Ridley and I are producing the new Alien movie that Fede is working on right now. Obviously, again, rather like your point about another Gladiator, or someone was just asking me that. It's all about the idea. You know, we've got to come up with a great idea that's worth telling. You know, obviously Romulus was very successful for us and a really good film. So we want to all sit together over the coming months and really try and crack the back of an idea, and then hopefully get it up and going next year.
I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much. Looking forward to watching Gladiator with you tonight.
Absolute pleasure, Brandon.
Thank you,
mate.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for your
sir.
support.
Thank you.
Jacket.
Thank you.
Great.
That was really where we were coming from. It's just sort of starting with a new story that has echoes and that gives people all the things that they really enjoyed about the first movie, but is completely a different experience with different people in it.
How long was the first script? Because the movie has, I mean, I think it's paced really well. It's a longer movie than we're used that come out most days now. Was there ever a longer version, I guess is what I'm asking?
What's funny is the first version was about conventional length, about 120 pages, and Ridley took a shotgun and blew holes in it and basically shot it down to about 80 pages.
Sure.
And then we built it back up again and then tore it down again and built it up again. So it was like a constant process of tearing down and rebuilding over a period of all of these years.
I love the new characters. Was there ever a version where you tried to get other former actors to come back and play any of the reprise any roles?
I mean, it was definitely like every conceivable idea was talked about. You know, you have no idea. I mean, every conceivable idea. So nothing, no stone was left unturned in terms of talking about it. But ultimately, I think, you know, it all came down to just sort of doing a very clean, clear movie that Ridley wanted to tell.
I think Denzel's amazing in this movie, and I think based on what I read online, everyone agrees.
Yeah.
What was it like working with him, and did he have input on his character?
He was amazing. I mean, he was really, you know, really kind of like almost, as they say, a jazz musician. You know, he takes the material and just sort of does his own, you know, you write the music, but then he goes off and sort of improvises a little bit of his own thing, which is awesome. And he had really strong feelings, but at the same time, he really seemed to like it. I mean, it was really, you know, people said he was a tough customer and that he, you know, you really had to work hard, you know, with him. But I mean, he was really, meaning, you know, I mean, he's really, you know, he's got strong feelings, and yet he loved this from the start, and you know, he totally embraced it. It was great.
That's awesome. My last question, I've heard Ridley talk about this a little bit already, but it's been 20 years since the first Gladiator. You think it's going to be 20 years until Gladiator 3? How is that looking?
I don't think it's going to be 20 years until Gladiator 3. I predict it will be a shorter wait this time around. So.
I'm looking forward to it. The movie's awesome. Thank you so much for the time. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brandon. Thanks.
Brandon, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
There we go. All right, so bringing Rome to life. From the grand side of it, the landscape shots, I'd like to start there. What are the key things to design this world and make it look like it has that texture, that lived-in environment?
I guess a lot of it starting from practical photography. So amazing sets were built, amazing special effects rigs.
Yeah.
Shooting something for real, I think, is always the way to start, as much as you can. You may end up replacing it, you know, but it's still a great reference at the very worst, and that's what grounds you in reality. I think, you know, starting, you get real cameras, you know, you don't get fantasy cameras flying around. That said, with the drones, that sort of thing, these days sometimes you do get a little bit this thing, you know, that the cameras start to move in such impossible ways that it's a bit jarring for an old, you know, a Roman film in my mind, sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's just as much shooting it for real, and that's what comes from Ridley's stuff. You know, the budget's there, they've got extras, they've got buildings, they've got, you know, they've got 12 cameras, 14 cameras. It's all good.
And so now on the ground level, the things that we can really see and maybe reach out and touch in this movie, I mean, the animals.
Yeah.
Talk about bringing that aspect of Gladiator II to life.
Animals, yeah. So we had a few different ones. We with the rhino knocking around, and that was meant to be in Gladiator 1, and instead it's in Gladiator 2. So there's different ways of approaching it. In the end, Neil Corbold, who's the special effects supervisor, created a radio-controlled rhino with wheels, basically, so you could drive around the Colosseum, and it was the size of a rhino. The whole top half was animatronic in terms of its eyes could move, its ears could, wiggle and that sort of thing. And the rider would sit on the back, and it would have a gait to it, so it would bounce up and down as if a rhino is galloping, kind of thing. So you get that physicality, because you want to try and get the physicality into the actor, sort of thing. So that gave obviously camera, actors, everyone something to work with visually. It's a great storytelling device. And then of course we took that and then we replaced the rhino with a CG rhino. But of course we kept as much as we could. We kept the saddle, we kept the rider, etc., etc. So again, it's about getting performance, hanging on to that reality. Baboons, similar sort of thing. That it was about getting a physical performance. So there's stuntmen there playing the baboons the whole time. Obviously, their stuntmen had to be removed. Put in the CG baboons. Off you go.
Are there other elements of Gladiator II that were able to be added to this film, which just couldn't have been done 20 years ago, but VFX and the evolution of technology allowed it to be put into the movie this time?
Yeah, I mean, there's volume, which hasn't actually the numbers, not the volume sort of thing. There's a lot more shots in this than the first one. The water, there's a lot of water work. The opening battle you see in the cities being attacked, all that shot in the desert. It's all shot in Morocco. There's no water there for any of that. So the water technology's moved on. The Colosseum naval battle, when they're in there and there's the boats in there, all that water's not real. So the water stuff's moved on a lot since then. The creature stuff's moved on a lot since then. The faces, there's obviously a bit of face work, doing facial places. That's all moved on since then. So in general, everything has moved on massively, and the volume's moved on. But that's not to say, of course, the original movie, to me, the iconic shot, you can't better it. The steady cam, the spinning around one, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it holds up today too. It's incredible. What are some of the projects you have coming up next?
I don't know, actually. No, I've had an interview, but I've not heard anything about it since. I know it's a mystery. It's a mystery to me. It's true. It's a mystery.
Okay, keep your secrets. That's fine. No, well, incredible work. Congratulations. Thank you so much for talking with me. Great to meet you.
Cheers.
Huge thanks to everybody for watching this video. Huge thanks to Paramount for having me on the carpet, and everybody who stopped by to talk. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something, and hope you'll subscribe to the channel so we can keep doing fun stuff like this. I'm BD. I'll see you in the next video.